Well, welcome everybody. It looks like we made it in at the last minute here. Thank you, Kendra, for troubleshooting. Yeah, so I'll just take 1 minute, see if there's anybody else coming in. Okay, well, so I am Elizabeth, and Kendra and I are going to be hosting tonight, and most of you know, but some of you may not, that Cynthia is not going to be with us for some of the Monday mindfulness meditations. She's taking time off to complete her book, and it's another one of her gifts for the world. The stories of her adventures and insights which arose from traveling around the world, taking earth treasure vases to different places. And very soon she's going to be having her final meeting with her book doula. And this is like the completing step before she releases the book to her publisher. So we are all holding our breath with her, are breathing with her, actually. We're breathing with her. And while she was talking about her limitations, last time we met, you know, she shared from her heart her limitations of energy and time and asked us to come forward and start taking leadership out of the group and bringing forward the wisdom that each of us carry. And she was seeing this as a way that our collective awakening can transpire. And so it's a wonderful step. I feel honored to be taking it. And Eliza Jane kind of led the way early when she took over one time. Yeah, so Cynthia's kind of asking us all to let go of any dependency we've had on her as the one and only teacher, and to take our steps into our Buddha nature. And so I thank each one of you for being here today and carrying forward our Monday mindfulness practice. And on the 24th, Ruthie said she would take it along, I think, with Ray. So we have them to look forward to next time. And I think this will be really wonderful. And my thoughts I'm going to go ahead and give a talk prior to the meditation. And then Kendra will lead us through the meditation. And do we have a poem tonight, Kendra? Yeah. And so then we'll have a poem from Cynthia West, and then we'll open the group as we usually do for sharing. Let's see. And so what I'm thinking about is to place our practice in the larger context and to nourish this transition into shared leadership. I want to speak about the mandala. And recently, Allison Fast, who is a dear Sangha member, I heard her talking about prayer and the planting of seeds as technology. And I got into really contemplating that level of technology because I've had it associated, you know, with electronics and machinery. And so it was beautiful to really tune into the subtle levels of technology. And then I dove into Lama Tsultrim Eleoni's book, Wisdom Rising, Journey into the Mandala of the Empowered Feminine. And in the first part of her book, Lama Tsultrim speaks quite a bit about the mandala, which I found incredibly, it was like a transmission, and I wanted to share that with all of you. So hopefully it will come through. And I realize that most of us, you know, have experienced the living dynamic of the Tara Gaia mandala. You know, during full moon meditations, it's extremely palpable. And then those of us who are doing the Tara Gaia practice are familiar with the spinning of the seed syllable in the heart and the spinning of the energy out. And these are all aspects of the mandala. I'm a little bit nervous, so I'm going to just take another breath here. Thank you. Thank you all. And so this is what I want to just draw our focus more fully into the mandala. And I think we're all here because of our deep caring for Gaia. And our spiritual intelligence is searching for wholeness and coherence and attunement to the universe. And the mandala, which reflects the structure of the universe from the smallest microcosm to the largest macrocosm, holds the means through which we can access this wholeness and this coherence. So a mandala is a three-dimensional reality, a place that holds the ultimate essence of all that is. It is an enclosed, sanctified space through which enlightenment unfolds. And so I'm seeing the mandala as the vehicle through which the Sangha can become the Buddha. And the center of the mandala is found everywhere, and the circumference of the mandala is found nowhere. And each one of us is a mandala. We have our core essence, or the sushumna, around which our life evolves. And this is no different from Gaia. The earth body has her core essence around which she spins. And the mandala can be seen everywhere in nature. It is like through the mandala that the seed releases its pattern of growth, and that the blossoms unfurl, and that the seed cones and pods, you know, hold the seeds, and then the way they release them for the next generations to come. This is all the energy of the mandala. And even infants, when they're born, they turn as they come through the birth canal. And so they're moving through the mandala as well, or each of us did coming into life. And through years of dedicated practice and vision and her traveling around Gaia, Cynthia has generated this amazing earth treasure vase mandala of which we are a part. And I see that part of this transition into our shared leadership is about each of us awakening to the full dynamic of the earth treasure vase mandala, and recognizing that our lives are an integral aspect of this living, breathing technology, and that we have come to take our place. The mandala functions as a centering force for the community that it serves. And our mindfulness practice is like right at the center point of the mandala, as the center of the mandala is the present moment, the ground of being, the source of creation, the point from which our futures unfold. And the dynamic of the mandala is generated through a continual exchange between the individual participants and the whole. So the fullness of our personal mandalas are quickened when we come into conscious relationship with the larger mandala. And simultaneously, the activity of our awakening vitalizes the greater mandala. And I found it really interesting in Lama Tsultrim's book. She described how when she was a young woman in Kathmandu, she took her Buddhist vows and became a nun, and they gave her this little tiny room in the monastery right across from the Swayambhu stupa. And throughout the day and the night, people just flowed through bringing offerings and circumambulating around the stupa, spinning the prayer wheels and saying their mantras and prayers. And she lived in this dynamic energy that was just like going all the time. And it was generating a mandala that was much huger than the stupa itself. And so this is a resource that Lama Tsultrim carries, you know, that at any time from across the world and years later, she can tune in and draw energy and resource from that particular mandala. And in a similar way, you know, all our practices awaken and feed Taragaya, the mandala. And this mandala that we're serving is generating the, healing. It's dedicated to the healing and protection of the earth. And so with each step and with each breath, we're actually feeding the life force of the mandala. And Lama Tsultrim pointed out that it was Dr. Carl Jung who played a significant role in understanding and awakening the Western mind to the technology of the mandala. And during World War II, Jung was given a very stressful position, and he took to drawing a daily mandala in a little notebook that he carried. And of this practice, he said, I began to understand the goal of psychic development is the self. There is no linear evolution. There is only circumambulation of the self. This insight gave me stability and my inner peace returned. I knew that in finding the mandala as an expression of the self, I had attained for me what was the ultimate. And so Jung later used the mandala with his clients. And in his work, he recognized that a life journey toward individuation usually involves a wounding of the personality and requires a reconnection with the greater self to heal. And the mandala serves this reconnection to the self. And I was really reflecting on how this wounding is reflected in the collective right now. And that collectively, we are being called back to the greater self. We are being called back to the mother. And Jung described the technology in this way. He said, the mandala serves a conservative purpose, namely to restore a previously existing order. What restores the old order simultaneously involves some element of new creation. In the new order, the old pattern returns at a higher level. The process is that of an ascending spiral, which grows upwards, while simultaneously always returning again and again to the same point. So I felt like what he was addressing is this dynamic process through which we move into new levels of consciousness, where we can solve the problems that have been created. And our practices within the mandala assist us to the transformation of the energetic patterns which have occluded our innate wisdom. And so as this wisdom is revealed, it becomes available and usable. And I just was like really excited that this is like such a pure form of technology. It's truly clean energy, you know, it's like, it's kind of amazing. And in his work with dreams, and with people's dreams, Jung came to see that some form of the mandala would appear in the dreams of his clients. And he said, mandalas usually appear in situations of psychic confusion and disorientation. And that the activated form, which has been coalesced, represents a pattern of order through which the elements of chaos, be they trauma, anxiety, depression, can fall into place, and that the weltering confusion is held together by the protective circle. And the reordering happens through the construction of a central point to which everything is related. And I was thinking of our breath. So with each breath, which is related to all, you know, we are breathing that center point of connection. And Jung witnessed how the mandala was able repeatedly to return people to an experience of integration and order. Displaying that human consciousness holds the potential of finding its way back to wholeness. And I thought, wow, how poignant. You know, mandalas appear in situations of psychic confusion and disorientation. And here we are at this time in the world, and through Cynthia's life work, she has created this incredible mandala for us right at this time, you know, to be part of and to use, to contribute, you know, like for us to come back over and over again to our wholeness through our practices, and thus be capable of contributing to this great turning that we are going through. And so here we are, a Sangha that's in transition, inside of a bigger transition, and we're each a mandala inside of a greater mandala. And so my prayer to carry into the meditation is that we may live more and more fully into the dynamic of the mandala to fulfill our part for the benefit of all beings. Yeah. So let it be.